Good morning. I'm in the garden this Sunday morning, and I hadn't really planned on making a recording this morning. But the garden, let's stand up so you can take a look and see what it looks like this morning. It's looking nice and lush. But the reason for me deciding to go ahead and make a video is not just because the garden is lush, but because I discovered a cucumber that I had somehow managed to miss. And this monster of a cucumber is one of the Japanese cucumbers. And I didn't know they could get that big, but they obviously can. But anyway, I wanted y'all to see that. Since I'm out here, just show you how everything is looked. This is the Japanese cucumbers. Not many fruit on them yet, but they're starting to get there. And that big one, I'm going to pick it today so I can take it in the house. The little bitty stuff right there, just regular cucumbers. And I'm waiting for them to grow, so hopefully I can make some pickles this year. And here is one lonely tomato plant which hasn't done anything, but I planted basil with it, and the basil is doing extremely well. This tomato plant right here is doing well. My tomatoes have started to get away from me so far. I didn't realize I'd have so many tomatoes. This is one tomato plant, tomatoes right there, you can see. Then look down there, more tomatoes, tomato right there, two tomatoes right there, two right there. Then further on down the bush, there are more tomatoes. My mint, as you can see, has been chopped. I had so much mint that I decided I'd give part of it away. So I got on Nextdoor, our neighborhood internet bulletin board, and said that anyone who wanted mint could come by and get some. And about 6 people came by yesterday and got themselves plenty of mint. My eggplants are doing well, both the Japanese eggplants and the regular Black Beauty. These are the Japanese eggplants. I know and here's some more right there on that bush. And then you got the regular eggplant. And let me see if I can get some of those in there for you to see. They're in here somewhere. Let me keep going. I see two over here in the corner. Really three. There's a nice pretty one right there. And there's a nice pretty one right there. And underneath the first one, there's another pretty one. So there are three of those. More tomatoes. You can see that. Growing wild, but they're growing. And over here, more tomatoes. Tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. I've never had these many tomatoes before in my 3 years of gardening. And I've been trying to keep it together, but I can't. My blackberry bush has grown back. And it even has a bloom or two on it. So I've had one crop of blackberries this year, and I'm really expecting to get another one later on. Now these poor looking fellas are my Scotch bonnet. I had to water them. I don't know if it's soil they're in, but it doesn't take long for their leaves to wilt at all. But they'll be okay later on in the day. So there's Scotch bonnet right there. And you can see this Scotch bonnet right here is loaded with Scotch bonnet peppers. I used it to make some jerk chicken the other day. And this one is also loaded with Scotch bonnet peppers. Further on down here, this is my red ghost pepper. And it hasn't produced any fruit yet. You can look closely and you can see a few seeds here maybe. And this is my habanero. And ain't producing the fruit yet. It's well on its way. You can see there are some beads right there on it, so it's gonna produce pretty soon. And this is a hot pepper, and it is what do they call it? Proven harvest, fire away, hot and heavy. And I haven't taken any of the peppers off of here yet, and it's been there for a while. Banana peppers, all over the place. There are a couple right, there's one or two right there. There's a few more back there. And here's a plant. If I can move the leaves out the way. And these are laden with banana peppers. Cajun bell peppers, little bitty peppers, very tasty. And you can see some of those on the vine. And that right there has plenty of them right there. And that's because I haven't picked any from here yet. This one I have harvested, so there are a lot missing right here. Now back here is my Okinawa spinach. I need to pick it and see if I can put it in the refrigerator and start eating it this week, because there's a big pot of it. I mean, not a big old thing of it. And in there with it, I got a lemon tree. No lemons on it, but it's got foliage. And earlier this year, it had nothing on it. It was just a stick. Way down here is zucchini. And there are a couple of zucchini down here. Not a whole lot. Not for the amount of space that it takes up. More tomatoes, far as the eye can see. And this is my special tomato bed right here. My Paul Robeson tomatoes that I want to grow. And I don't have a whole bunch of Paul Robeson tomatoes yet, just 2 of them and about 8 plants. So hopefully they'll start to take off later on, and I surely expect that they will. And this is one of my black cherry tomatoes. Those are big, they're luscious, and they're almost too big to be cherry tomatoes. I'm not sure what type of tomato this is, but it came off in my hand, which means it's supposed to be eaten. And it was. Well, let's go back this way, so we can see what we can see. Flowers are still blooming. First year of putting flowers out, but they're doing good. Swiss chard. I need to go ahead and cut this Swiss chard and eat it also before the insects eat it all. It's gotten pretty big. This is a yellow, an orange jazz tomato I put here. It was a squash in there, but the squash wasn't doing any good, so I decided I'd go ahead and put a tomato plant in here, get some good out of it. More. These are German tomatoes, and I forget exactly what kind they are, but I planted them here among my cucuzza because I didn't want to waste all this space inside here. And they'll start to do okay. Now you may not be able to see up here in the cucuzza well, but yeah, there's one cucuzza starting to come out. And there one hanging down right there. So they're starting to produce. So pretty soon I have a whole bunch of cucuzza. I was kind of worried that it may not produce this year because of the fact that they had a bunch of blooms earlier, and I should have self-pollinated them, but I didn't. But they're doing nicely. Now, don't know if this is a problem or what. Malabar spinach I planted last year has volunteered to come back this year. And you can see those are nice, big, healthy leaves. And although I love the fact that I produced them, they're right there amongst all the tomato plants. So I got tomato plants, Malabar spinach, and grass all mixed together. This is one holy mess. Bell pepper, produced a couple of bell peppers, and it hadn't done much lately, but there's a volunteer Malabar spinach growing up in it. Peppers, doing well. Those are the long red cayenne peppers. And then in the middle row, jalapeno peppers. Then over here in the last row are my poblano peppers. And I pulled most of those off earlier, poblano. And I used some when I took some and cut them into strips and used them for fajitas, along with some onions from the garden. And then others I stuffed with chorizo sausage and cream cheese, wrapped it in bacon, then put it in the smoker. More of my black cherry tomatoes. These are quite prolific. I'm gonna take a chance and leave these out on the tree today just to see if they're darker off the squirrels getting them. It's a calculated risk, but I'll take it. Another one. I'm not sure what type of tomatoes those are, but again, plenty of tomatoes. Lemon balm growing good. Another eggplant. So, and I see all the tomatoes, not just the ripe ones, but the unripe ones also. Dill. Two things I smelled in the garden this morning: dill and mint, and both of them are lovely. So hopefully the dill will keep growing and not go wild until my cucumbers come along, so I can make some pickles. But what I might do is I just may go to the market and buy some cucumbers and make some pickles before the dill goes bad, and then make some more pickles later on with my own. It doesn't make a difference, I suppose. Newest addition to the garden: Mexican sunflower. Waiting to see how it comes out. Orange jazz tomatoes. No, these are not. These are black rosella tomato plants. And I'm gonna have to take these tomato plants and plant them probably sometime this evening. So, lemon tree. Lemons aren't really getting any bigger, but they're still there. So I suppose that's a blessing. Another tomato tree, tomato plant rather, and more flowers. So the winner in this garden this year are the tomatoes. Plenty of them. Like I said, I wanted to clean this garden out first before I showed it to y'all, but I saw that big cucumber. And I said that, well, I've got to share that. Anyway, excuse my inartful showing of my garden, but it is what it is. I hope that everyone has a nice day. And if you want to, feel free to click the subscribe button. First time I said it, but feel free to subscribe.